Welcome to Shine Africa, a lifestyle show designed for people of all ages and domains. The show is tailored to inform, educate, support, and inspire young people through its caliber of guests and uprising stars when they share their experiences, challenges, and success stories. Shine Africa, moving forward.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Shine Africa. I am your host, Reverend Abomta Mirabel Siriwa. On today's episode of the show, we are talking multiculturalism and multilingualism. Of course, we know that in Cameroon we have over 273 languages, and across just next door Nigeria we have more than 500, and same in some African countries. Today we're going to be looking at why we have so many languages and of course how advantageous they are to the African people and perhaps to other people. Surprisingly for you, I have an interesting guest that is handling this topic for us. He's nowhere near Africa, and that's the surprise I have for you when we come back. Our guest is James Stewart. He's an American and fresh in Africa and Cameroon. In fact, it's the first time he's visiting Cameroon, and he has picked. He wants to talk about multiculturalism and multilingualism. Can we put our hands together for our guest? Wow. Thank you. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And you're welcome to Cameroon and welcome to Africa. Okay, you asked us to do a mixture, sort of a juice for you, so that's exactly what we're going to get. Okay, so let's get to the kitchen where we do the happy juice. Now our juice is ready, and what's your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange. Oh no! Okay, another color.
Red.
Okay, red. I may like red. Oh God. If you take red, I take green. Okay, you can have red.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just 1 minute. And ladies and gentlemen, before we take leave of you, remember that a kitchen without a juicer is not alive. A kitchen without a juicer is not alive. Okay, can you please have a sip of your juice? How do you like it?
Wonderful. Yeah, they're saying there are certain fruits that you just can't find in the United States. So whenever I come to a new place like Cameroon,
You like to have
absolutely.
Wow, that's very nice. Now, it was so interesting when I read through your autobiography because you talked about, you said you read biology and French. It's a strange combination, especially for someone who is in Cameroon. and that's the thing that first caught my attention about you when we were talking. Like, why would someone in America decide to learn French? Yeah, so what was it all about?
Well, it started when I was young. I actually started learning French in middle school when I was 11 years old.
Oh my God!
I'm from a very small town in the United States. And
at North Carolina?
in North Carolina, that's right. And the idea of speaking multiple languages where I'm from is very rare. Right? I don't know anyone back home really who speaks even 2 languages.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So you can imagine my surprise when I came to Cameroon and find people who speak 4 languages. The taxi driver will pick someone up in French, will turn and speak in English, we'll have a phone call and speak in another language.
Oh my God!
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But for me, I've always been fascinated by language and culture. Because for me, language is culture in a lot of ways. And so that started my passion for it, and I continued learning. I studied abroad in France for a year. I was an English teacher abroad for a year as well.
Yeah, but in an English school, in a French school, yes, it would have been more interesting for me if you were a French teacher in an English school. So when I saw it, I was like, oops, okay. they would have given you an opportunity. That would have given you some kind of opportunity to leverage on your French.
Yeah.
And you know, when we met the first time, it was like, the thing that caught me was, which American speaks French this well? So I started asking, why do you speak French this well? And that's what you told me.
Yeah.
So do you have, at the time you learned, at the age of 11, was there someone, a French speaker around, or what motivated that in you?
My very first French teacher was actually from the Côte d'Ivoire. And she showed me from the beginning that French wasn't just France. French was the Francophone world. It was so much more.
Okay.
And by learning French, that's a way to access so many cultures.
Yeah, but there were other languages. There was Spanish.
There was Spanish, there was
Latin.
but
Yeah, they picked on that one for you.
there was just something about French.
Okay, and you say you're interested in learning the culture.
I've always been interested in both the language and the people.
The language and the people. There's some other thing that you said that I can't do, but that's okay. So, okay, today we are talking about your love for languages. Yeah, for foreign languages. That's what we're talking about. That's multiculturalism.
Mm-hmm.
And you are here in Cameroon. We have over 273 languages. And how do you find that?
Honestly, it was one of the reasons that I wanted to come to Cameroon.
Okay.
From the beginning, when I was looking at where I could travel, where I could go, where I could do research, I found that Cameroon was this multicultural hotspot.
Wow.
All of these different ethnicities, all of these different languages. And again, from my perspective, where I come from in the United States, where we only speak one language, we only have one culture, it's surprising. It's really interesting to me. It's something that I really want to investigate. So,
yeah,
that's, I guess to answer your question, it's fascinating. It's incredible.
Okay.
It's incredible.
You are 24 and you're here because you're a Fulbright Scholar. When we come back from the break, we are going to be looking at exactly how advantageous multiculturalism and multilingualism is to Cameroon and probably Africa. Welcome back from the break. My guest is still James Stewart, and we are talking multiculturalism and multilingualism. It is true that you have not been very exposed to many cultures and many languages, but then do you think that there is something that Cameroonians in particular, I like to say Cameroonians in particular because we belong to a culture wherein we have the young people who think that speaking all those languages you love that have made you come to Cameroon, the young generation, they don't speak it. So in the next 40 or maybe even 20 years, you may not want to come back to Cameroon because all of them will be extinct.
Yeah, there's a huge risk of that.
Yeah. So what is there something you can tell them to make them passionate about?
Well, like I said before, for me, language and culture is intimately linked together.
Yeah.
And so in order to really understand a culture, and really be in touch with your own culture, you have to maintain those links with your language. You know, so I think there was a quote that Nelson Mandela had that said, if you speak to somebody in a language he understands, you speak to his head.
Wow, to his head.
To his head.
To his head.
If you speak in his language, you speak to
his head. Okay.
Right, so there's something about the connection between your language and your culture that is very important. It's almost sacred.
Yeah.
Right? And I see that a lot of people, a lot of my Cameroonian friends that I make here, that are my age, don't necessarily speak their mature language.
That's the point. Yeah, that's the point.
Exactly like you mentioned. And so I really found that to be a shame because one, there's a personal aspect of it where it's this link between your own culture and your own language.
Yeah.
But also the ability to speak multiple languages and to communicate between people is a really valuable skill, even in the professional world. Like for me, coming and speaking English and French opens enormous opportunities.
Wow.
Not only because I speak these two languages that are useful, but because I know how to work between cultures.
Exactly.
So speaking in one language and then turning around and communicating with somebody else in another language, it's just a completely different mentality and a different way of thinking that somebody who only speaks one language has a hard time understanding.
That is a serious one. So in the United States, how do you use your French?
I don't much. It's a challenge, like I said. There's just not a whole lot of opportunity for it. But my whole reason for learning was to open myself up to the world.
Yeah.
The first time that my father heard me speak French, I was on a phone call.
Oh my God!
To a bank in France that I was speaking with. And after the conversation, I turned to my father, who was looking at me with this stunned look on his face, because he just couldn't understand how his son, James, was speaking French.
Oh God!
So, again, it's a mentality type of thing that a lot of people where I'm from just don't really appreciate or understand, which is why I come here and I see the potential for all of these languages and all of these cultures, and it's really something that's beautiful to me.
Okay. Before I ask the next question, I must say that your dressing is really very cool. I see a multiple of cultures on you, and the shirt is really very trendy.
Yeah.
You just decided to do that, or someone helped you out?
No, one of the things that I wanted to do when I came here was try to understand this culture as much as possible, and that meant adapting into it.
Okay.
And so I went to the marché central, I found my fabric, I found my seamstress, and I wanted to have that experience.
You went. Oh, that's very nice.
And so, yeah, it's all about adapting for me.
Yes. You did mention at some point how you got to learning French, but then I also want to find out, did you think about Africa? Were you focused on Africa at the time you were learning French?
Not when I was just beginning. I was very young. My conception of, at 11 years old, your conception of the world is kind of limited. But as I got older, believe it or not, it was really the music that brought me into it. There's something about African music that I discovered in high school as I was still learning French.
Okay.
And as I listened to these artists and...
Yeah, I think you mentioned to me that French is really... you love the sound of it.
Yeah. Okay. It was listening to those, especially those African Francophone artists, that I started to say, this is a place that I want to learn more about. This is a place that's special.
Oh my God. I hope that many Africans and Cameroonians think as you do, that we are lucky to have the many opportunities, languages and cultures we have in Africa. These are foreigners who are coming to see what you are doing. Unfortunately, the next generation is not doing anything about it. When we come back from the musical break, you are going to have another side of the conversation.
Better G on the beat.
Into the set. No one of those days with Perry County Jasons. Red joker in my hands, shake the nonsense. Bring your flush on the ladies, take the buttons. And fight bass like Shakespeare with no spears beheaded. Here comes the good news, I'm everywhere in the blues. Didn't believe in you, now they see you like you do. Take a look at my crew, je suis son crew. I check. He's not out of Ghana, he's from Alakana. Am I supposed to tell you the virus is down? From city to city, your mind runs around. And so the more, amen. Je forget la cage, baby. Je kill my rage, baby. Avec moi c'est le cash, baby. Money for her, le reste c'est yes. Je forget la cage, baby. Je kill my rage, baby. Avec moi c'est le cash, baby. Money for her, le reste c'est yes. Except for me, you know. What the city, except for me, you know how we run. Yes, you know how we run. Yes, you ask around, yeah. If you know my job, so deliver. You know if you don't understand African hip-hop. To stay to sleep is wrong. You know if you don't drink drunk, so don't let me down. I'm a speaker on, ask this man, move on. I'm a soldier for fun. If you detain it, it's wrong. Chef, I'm ready for your cups. I'm ready for rock, I'm ready for orders of the drum. We get you forward, every track is so like stay slow and short. I'm ready for rock, I'm ready for orders of the drum. We get you forward, slowly, surely. Je forget la cage, baby. Je quitte ma rage, baby. Avec moi c'est le cage, baby. On est pas mal. Le reste c'est yes, yes. Je forget la cage, baby. Je quitte ma rage, baby. Avec moi c'est le cage, baby. On est pas mal. Le reste c'est yes, yes. C'est pour me, you know. Je suis la clé, passe partout. Allez, retour, passe partout. I'm a chico, I'm a chico, I'm a chico. I'm the magic key. 2 freaks over, it's my territory. Yeah, I'm the master planner. Je quitte ma rage, baby. Avec moi c'est le cage, baby. On est pas mal. Le reste c'est yes, yes. Je forget la cage, baby. Je quitte ma rage, baby. Avec moi c'est le cage, baby. On est pas mal. Le reste c'est yes, yes. Je forget la cage, baby.
Finally, I got the track master in the house. Can we clap for Aweh again? A very long time that I have wanted to have you on set, and you know, all that while I didn't even know that you were this big, this huge. Congratulations! It's so beautiful, and I think that your future is not yet here. Your future is very far and very bright.
There is no life without the music.
Okay.
So, like you say, with the help of the Most High, we should get there.
Yeah, so do you have any projects you're currently working on?
Okay, before being the artist, I'm an event manager.
Okay.
And my point of interest or my focus is the emerging artist. So I organize events every Wednesday in town.
Yeah.
And normally I host other events and I also work to assist others in their own events as a DJ, because I'm first a DJ before being the artist.
I want to see, and he's the DJ for this show. He's Shine Africa's DJ. He has taken me by surprise with what he has done here today. I see what you do on Facebook and WhatsApp, because every Wednesday I'm sure to see an event at Chak event Chak like that. Do you have any albums in the market?
No, not yet. I've not yet released, but I'm working on that. It's my
Any
first
videos?
release. No, not yet.
Are you looking for sponsors?
If they come, I will welcome them. Sponsors are those who are hard to find, and the strong people don't necessarily look for sponsors. We look on how to sponsor ourselves.
Wow, that's very good. That was amazing. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
It's an honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from that very beautiful musical break. And before we went on break, we did say that when we come back, James and I will be talking about the next destination, or we actually want to be looking at the differences between languages and dialect. Because one of the things that discourages young Africans, probably one of the things, James, that discourages some people from pursuing the languages or speaking them, learning them, is the fact that they are categorized on that dialect. So what is actually the difference when you look at Cameroonian languages?
Yeah, so I've heard that a lot while I've been here, that certain Cameroonians will say, my dialect from back home, my patois from back home, and that kind of bothers me because they're not dialects, they're not patois, they're real languages, right?
Okay.
In their own right. So a dialect is defined as a variety of a language that it's in the same language, but it's different maybe in terms of grammar and vocabulary and phonetics, but it's still a part of that language, right?
Okay.
So whenever somebody says my dialect here, it makes me think that it's categorized under something else.
Yeah.
And that's not the case, right? Languages here are languages in full in their own right.
Yeah, they are written, people can read and write them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're not related to French. terms. They're not related to English. They're not related to any of these imported languages.
Perhaps the point is because Africans and Cameroonians in particular, we think it's trendy and it's more prestigious to speak in English, to speak in French. Yeah, so people, they feel superior when they speak in foreign languages. So it's like everyone has just embraced all foreign languages and we're neglecting our own.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think that that's very useful. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't learn these languages that are really global languages of business and global languages of culture, all of those things. However, when you focus solely on those and you neglect your own culture, your own heritage, you lose something about yourself in a lot of ways. So really, what you risk having is a generation that might lose these roots that hold them back. You know? I've seen a lot of people, a lot of my friends who have come from other parts of Cameroon here to Yaoundé, and I asked them about back home, I asked them about their culture. Well, I don't, I'm
oh my God.
I'm from Yaoundé, my family's Bassa, but
oh God.
I know there's a lack of
So what do you think the government can do, the government of Cameroon can do to promote these languages?
First of all, I would encourage them to refer to them in different ways, refer to them as languages.
Okay.
Long maternal languages, not as patois, not as dialects.
Yeah.
And then encourage them to be maybe taught in schools, or if you don't teach the language in school, because there are so many different languages, what do you teach? You can't decide which language to teach the students, but you can teach students about Cameroonian languages and about that history and about that culture.
Exactly.
But another part of the wealth and the richness of Cameroon is that there really is no predominant ethnicity or predominant language.
I think that's a very central part of this discussion. That all these languages and cultures seem to be on the same platform. There is none that is categorized on a higher or lower platform. Yeah.
We're talking as well as multilingualism about multiculturalism.
Yeah.
And that's something that truly makes Cameroon unique, because if you go to a place like Senegal, for example, the majority of the population belongs to a single general ethnic group.
Okay.
If you go to other countries like Kenya, there are predominant forms that seem to have more influence than others.
Yeah.
I have not felt that at all in Cameroon from that perspective. Everyone gets along for the most part. All of there's mutual respect among all of them.
Well, I think that's true. It's very fair to say that because it's something we live anyway. Okay, we're going to get a question now from the audience. So can we get someone from the audience who would ask a question? Okay, it seems we have somebody. Can we hear your question, please?
Okay. Alright, thank you very much.
Your name first, please.
Okay, I'm called Eunice Singing. Alright, I have two questions for Mr. James.
Choose one. Let's choose one, please. One question only. One question.
Okay, I'll choose the most important.
Yeah.
He has been here and he's talking about culture, different cultures that he has come across in Cameroon. I'd like him to tell us, he wants to say one thing in any language that he has learned.
Oh my God, this is not possible.
Well, I've learned that whenever you get on a motorcycle and it's going way too fast, you say, Papa, moto moto,
this is serious. I thought you got my guess, but you didn't get him. So he's defended his title so well. That's very nice. Okay, we've been asking a lot of questions. I have been asking the questions. So now I want to be on the hot seat and you take the softer one.
Yeah.
What will your question be?
Well, I have a pretty big question for you as well.
Big question?
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm afraid of big questions.
We've been talking a lot about Cameroon and why it's special, and multiculturalism and multilingualism. What does it mean to be Cameroonian for you? What is a Cameroonian? What makes a Cameroonian special?
What makes a Cameroonian special? Did I think of this ever in my life? I don't know. By being Cameroonian, I think I have taken it for granted like many other Cameroonians. But I think what makes us special is the fact that we are a people with a lot of diversity, because we say Cameroon is Africa in miniature. Anything you find in Africa, African countries you go, they don't have a lot of stores. There are many things that are lacking in many other African countries. When you come to Cameroon, anything that you've seen in any other African country, you find it here. We have a lot, and it's our patriotic spirit too. I think we love our country, Cameroonians. Most Cameroonians love this country, and it is that identity that makes us one. The fact that I come from the northwest region of Cameroon. I have been in the central region. So that's the French-speaking region of Cameroon. I come from the English-speaking region. I've been in the French-speaking region now for close to 20 years. Sometimes I go back to Bamenda, my hometown, and I cannot be able to find my way about anywhere around the town. That's to be truthful to you. So it's that kind of feeling that if I live here and I go to the north of Cameroon, I will be welcomed, because I just say I'm Cameroonian, and they hear that I'm from Bamenda, I'm from the southwest, I'm from the east region, and all of that, and we just become one person. So I think that's what makes us very special. Did I try to answer that big question? Clap for me, please. Okay, this is my best moment on the show now. It is the dance slot, not because I dance, but because I want to see my guests dance and win. So I'm going to be supporting James in his dancing role at this moment, and he picked Fali Epopa to the one dance. Okay, can we have the DJ on that one?
La folie, tout le monde danse, soyez les chéris. Ah, mes chéris sont jolis, ça on s'arrête pas. Ça on ne compte pas. Ça on s'arrête pas. Ça on ne compte pas. Tout le monde sur la piste, on les fait pas. On oublie les
And I see you've been dancing. You don't have to sit anymore. I see you've been dancing in Cameroon, because the way you make the way your head goes shows that you've been doing something.
I just hope they don't give me a 5. That's all I'm hoping for.
I'm telling you. Okay, let's see what James got for himself just dancing. Is it a 5?
No.
Is it an 8? No. That is actually a 10. Thank you very, very much. You got a 10, just dancing.
I don't know how that happened, but I appreciate it.
Okay, now you leave your, please can you come closer?
Yeah.
You leave your signature somewhere.
It's getting pretty full, huh?
Yeah, getting pretty full.
Alright.
Yeah, so you just get. So when we see it, we'll know you are here in Cameroon and Africa.
Absolutely. There you go.
I'm sure you have heard that in Africa you don't visit someone and go back empty-handed. So as usual, I have a little gift for you, and this one is very special. I've not given a gift like this on this show before. So you're very special, and that's because you've embraced our culture, you've embraced our people and our languages, and you want to promote them. That's why we're giving you something. This is more traditional than the other ones you have seen on the show. Yeah, okay.
Now, how do we say this in the local languages?
Say what, call this?
How do we call this?
Oh my God. In my own language, let me try. In my language, barefoot, they will call it Nelong.
Okay.
Nelong. So it's like a radio, something like that, Nelong. So you play it and people hear it. Wow. Something like that. So we like to thank you, James Stewart, for being part of this show. It was very great having you, and I hope that before you go, we shall be able to have you some other time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Very much. It was an honor to be here.
Okay, thank you very much and have a nice time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this episode of the show. But before we go, here is our watchword. A man who uses force is afraid of reasoning. That's a Kenyan proverb. A man who uses force is afraid of reasoning. And we'd like to say a very big thank you to the Solomon Tandem Mona Foundation in Yaoundé. That's where we're having the show. And to Somatel Hotel in BMRC, where our guests spent some time. I have been your host, Reverend Abomta Mirabel Siringwa. Until next time, it's a bye-bye from us.